welcome to the Kent Business School Virtual Open Day. We're here to showcase everything you need to know about studying here at the University of Kent. Over the next hour or so, we'll be chatting to staff and students to get a taste of what the course has to offer, as well as a flavour of life across our Canterbury and Medway campuses. Whether you've got questions about the courses, facilities, or where's best to soak up student life, do send them in via the Facebook and YouTube live comment section, and we'll be putting those to our panel and get those answered for you. As we're all social distancing and joining from different locations, we may have some technical difficulties, so do bear with us if we need to sort those out, and apologies for the slightly delayed start because of some technical difficulties this afternoon. But to start off, I'd like to hand over now to Steve Robinson, a senior lecturer in business and the head of undergraduate recruitment and admissions, for a short presentation. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Steve, over to you.
Thank you, Louisa, for that introduction. I hope everybody can hear me okay. I've got a few slides to show you and they should be coming up shortly. As Louisa says, and as the first slide says, my name is Steve Robinson and I'm wearing two hats in front of you today. My first hat is as the head of undergraduate recruitment, so I can answer questions that you may have later related to any of our programs, the UCAS process. I'm also a senior lecturer in business, so I teach across most of the undergraduate programs, although my main focus is on international business. The idea today is to spend about 10 to 15 minutes with me, just to give you a flavour of Kent Business School, a little bit of background about the university itself, Kent Business School in particular, and also about the programmes we have to offer. I'm not going to go into huge depth on every programme because we'll be here till Christmas next year. But the idea is to give you a taste, an overview, and then you can go and look up the course structures in detail on the webpage, or you can ask myself, my colleagues, and some of the students that we'll be having with us shortly any detailed questions that you might have to ask. You can also email me. My email is on the webpage if you've got any specific questions. Okay, a few general bits of background really, a little bit about University of Kent. If you don't know, University of Kent is based mainly outside Canterbury in Kent, and our second campus is up at Medway. University of Kent has around 20,000 students. It's a fairly large university, not as big as some of the big metropolitan universities, but at 20,000 students, it's pretty big. The business school is the biggest school within the university. We have just over 10% of all students are in the business school, so just over 2,000 students, of which around 1,800 are undergraduates, and we recruit around 600 undergraduates every year to both our campuses, so around 400 for the Canterbury campus and around 200 to the Medway campus. And we have a further 300 or so postgraduate students doing masters in management, MBAs, research masters, PhDs, etc. So it's a big old school within a fairly large university. As I said, University of Kent has two campuses. On the next slide, you can see an aerial picture of the Canterbury campus. The Canterbury campus is just outside the city of Canterbury. It's a short walk in. It's about 10-15 minute walk down the hill, slightly longer coming back up the hill. Kent Business School has the lovely Simpson building as our base on the Canterbury campus. There's a short video you can see later about the Simpson building. Fantastic building. We're very lucky to have this beautiful Parkland campus, one of the best campuses in the UK. Well, I would say that, wouldn't I? So some of Kent Business School's programs are on our Canterbury campus, but we also, as you'll see on the next slide, have a Medway campus. The Medway campus is in the historic dockyard at Chatham. This is more of an urban campus, which has up-to-date facilities, some of which are in brand new buildings and some of which are in converted, beautiful Georgian buildings that date back clearly to the Georgian period, Victorian period, etc. Kent Business School also offers some of our programs on this Medway campus. It's about a 2-to-1 split, so about 2/3 of our students are at the Canterbury campus and about 1/3 roughly of our undergraduates are on our Medway campus. As potential students at Kent Business School, the big question you must always ask yourself as a potential undergraduate to business is whether you would like to do a general business degree. These are very popular. General business degrees such as management, we do a degree in management at Canterbury, or business and management, which we do at Medway. So the first question is, do you want to do a general business degree whereby you can look at all aspects of business in your degree? So over the 3-year degree, you'll look at elements of finance, HRM, strategy, marketing, entrepreneurship, project management, etc. Or as a student, as an undergraduate student, would you rather specialize straight off the bat? Would you rather do a more specialized business degree in something like accounting and finance, or finance and investment possibly, or marketing? Kent Business School offers a mixture of both specialized degrees and more general degrees. So you have this sort of pick a mix of maybe the particular degree that will suit you. On the next slide, you'll see what we have to offer at our Canterbury campus. Our Canterbury campus has 4 main undergraduate programs. That's accounting and finance, marketing, international business, and management. Management is the more general degree, very popular. We have over about 100, 110 students every year do management degrees, where you look at all aspects of business. As I mentioned earlier, finance, marketing, HRM, strategy, operations, etc. And so students can specialise in their final year on the management degree, but the management degree is for students who want an all-round knowledge of business. The other 3 degrees at Canterbury are somewhat more specialised degree, particularly the first one on the list there, accounting and finance. Accounting and finance is a very popular degree here at Canterbury. We have about 150 students take it every year. It's recognised by all the main accountancy bodies, which I'll tell you a little bit more about in a second. It's particularly for students that perhaps want to go on to work in financial services or become a professional accountant, either chartered, management or public sector accountant. Our marketing degree is obviously a more specialised marketing degree. That is for students that perhaps want to go on and work in marketing communications, digital marketing, marketing research, international marketing, etc. It's a fairly popular degree as well. We have usually each year between 80 to 100 students on the marketing degree. Similar numbers are also on our international business degree. This is clearly a business degree, that has a far more international flavour in the 2nd and 3rd years. I particularly teach on the 1st year of the marketing, international business and management degrees. I also particularly specialise in the final year on international business. The international business degree is for students that want to do, yes, a business degree, but in the 2nd and 3rd year have a much more focused approach to elements of international business, looking at things like emerging markets, looking at things like cross-cultural management, international business, theory and practice. I teach on European business, and we look at different European business models. So our Canterbury campus has 4 main undergraduate programs. All of our degrees have a mixture of what are called core subjects and options. Core subjects, as you might guess, are subjects that are compulsory, and if you look at the particular course structure, you'll see the core subjects tend to be in the first 2 years of the programme, allowing more time for options traditionally in the final year. So all our degrees have a mixture of core and option subjects, generally front-loaded into the first 2 years, with options more in the final year. All of the degrees are assessed by a mixture of coursework and exams. Yes, and so there's not a typical module, but each year you would normally do do 4 modules a term, and that's 8 modules a year typically, and 8 subjects, 8 modules a year, and those modules are typically assessed by the coursework and exams. Coursework is normally around 40 to 30%, depending on the module. 30% normally for accounting modules, 40% for usually business-related modules. And then the exams is the other half of the assessment. The exams are typically either 70 or 60%. So there's that mixture. It does vary, which is why I was giving you rough figures. It does vary from module to module. We do have some optional modules that are 100% coursework. These tend to be project-based modules. On the next slide, we can see, hopefully you can see, it's not coming up, there we go. On this slide, you'll see that all of our degrees not only are awarded by the University of Kent, so if you come and join us in 2021 and then you graduate, oh my goodness, in 2024 or 2025, not only are these degrees awarded by the University of Kent, but we have external accreditations as well attached to them. What does this mean? It means for no extra work. If you're a student, this does not involve any extra work because we've already received these accreditations. So there's no extra work. And maybe if you're a parent, this involves no extra fees. But as well as being awarded your degree when you graduate, whether that's from Canterbury Cathedral, if you're a Canterbury-based student, one of the best places to graduate in the UK, or if you're a Medway-based student from Rochester Cathedral, also a superb venue for graduation, not only do you get your degree from the University of Kent, Kent Business School, but you get these accreditations as well. I briefly mentioned before the accounting and finance accreditations. That's ACCA, that's Certified Accountants, CIMA, which is Management Accountants, and then there's the Institute of Chartered Accountants, as well as CIPFA, which is the Public Sector Accountancy Body. Our marketing degree is accredited by the prestigious Chartered Institute of Marketing, that's the CIM for short, you see there at the bottom of the slide, whereas both our international business and management degrees are accredited by the CMI, same letters but in a different order. This is the Chartered Management Institute. And international business has a dual accreditation because it's also, as you'll see there from the little logo, accredited by the Institute of Export and International Trade. As I said, this is part of your degree program. It does not involve any extra work. It does not involve any extra fees as such. On the next slide, you can see the programs we offer on our Medway campus. Our Medway campus up in the Chatham Historic Dockyard now offers 3 undergraduate programs. We have business and management, which is our general popular degree. We have about 120 students do that every year. We have the more specialized finance and investment degree for students that perhaps see their future working in financial services, investment banking, merchant banking, maybe insurance, wealth management, those sort of areas. Finance and investment, we recruit about 40 to 50 students every year, and brand new for 2021 entry, this brand new, hot off the press, if you like, program on entrepreneurship and innovation. This is a brand new program, particularly going to be attractive for students that see themselves in the future, possibly starting their own business or working for another SME. It's all about areas of entrepreneurship and innovation. It also looks at key business skills as well, such as finance and marketing, and there's issues to do with management as well. All the course details, as I said, for all of these programs can be found on our website. On the next slide, you'll see that already 2 of our programs at Medway already have this external accreditation and affiliation. Our business and management degree has the CMI accreditation, just like international business and management at Canterbury. And the finance and investment degree is affiliated, I should say, to the prestigious American CFA Institute. Once we've launched the entrepreneurship and innovation degree, we'd expect to get similar accreditations to that degree as well. On the next slide, you can see that there are a number of different degree variations. All of our degrees are 3 years in length, first year, stage 1, second year, stage 2, third year, stage 3. But all of our degrees offer an optional 4-year sandwich. That would mean you would do 2 years at Kent Business School and then either do a work placement year, which my colleague Nicola will tell you more about in a later presentation. So you work for a year and then you come back for stage 3, your final year. That's one option. That's very popular. We have over 150 students every year go out on work placements, and they come back more experienced, often more focused students. So that's one possibility. You do 2 years at Kent and do a work placement year, then come back. Alternatively, you can do a year abroad year. Year abroad is when you go and study at one of our partner universities. So we have a number of partners, over a dozen partners, where you would spend 2 years at University of Kent and then do a year abroad at one of those partner universities. That might be in Paris, Madrid, Beijing, Hong Kong, Sydney, etc. There's lots of options there, so do your research. Work placement is a very popular option to take. You can apply for this through UCAS. In recent years, a number of my students have done the work placement option and been offered jobs at their work placement. So in recent years, graduates who have been my tutees have gone on to work at Microsoft, Oracle, Louis Vuitton, Bank of America, EA Sports, it's in the game, these sort of places, often because of the work placement they spent there. This year, well, the last few years, we've also been offering what is called the Selfie, which is a self-employed placement year, whereby you can actually, with consultation, work for yourself and start your own business up as part of your work placement. On the next slide, it will again briefly mention the fact that you can do this year abroad option. And we get a number of students every year going to one of our partner universities. So 2 years at Kent, a year at our partner university, many of whom, well over half of them now, who teach in English. You don't necessarily have to know the language. A little bit will obviously help, but it's not necessary for you to necessarily know the language of that particular place you're going to study at. I think about 2/3 now teaching English. The full list can be seen on the link here. What else do we offer here at Kent Business School, as well as our 3 and 4 year programs? We also offer joint honour programs. The next slide gives you a little list of what our joint honour programs are. What are joint honours? It means a sort of 50-50 degree, if you're not familiar with this. Single honours would be one subject degree. So you do international business or you do management. A joint honours is the cake is cut in half, if you like, whereby you can do management and economics, you see, or management and law. That's very popular. Or you can do accounting and finance and economics, or accounting and finance and mathematics. These are not harder degrees. They are not easier degrees. It's the same cake, but the cake is cut in half. So you have 1 foot in one department and 1 foot in another department. Roughly about 20% of our students, do a joint honours degree. As I said, they're not easier, they're not harder, and the actual offers we make are at the same level, whether you want to do a joint honours or whether you want to do single honours. Our standard offer for 2021 entry is 3 Bs at A level, 120 UCAS points. That's generally what we're looking at. If you're taking BTEC, extended diploma, we typically look for distinction merit. If students accept one of our offers, which we'd hope you would do, when the results come out next summer, then if you are close to achieving what we've offered you, then typically your details would come to me, and I'm likely to accept students who have obviously got the grades we are looking for, or alternatively are very close to those grades. I'll go back and look at your personal statement, your references, your achievements. So typically students who've got their grades obviously get a place, but students who are near misses, maybe have fallen down on one subject area, we will still typically allow them to join us, because we want those who've put Kent first to come to Kent. Moving on the next slide. On the next slide, you can see one of our unique selling points. We have a big focus on trying to develop employable graduates. Over the 3 or 4 years here, we have this scheme called Kent Business School Backpack to Briefcase. This starts from your first year and goes right on to when you leave us. There's a number of initiatives, including the Business Startup Journey and the Aspire project that my colleague Rebecca will be talking about with you shortly, whereby you can attend workshops, you can attend extracurricular activities, all about developing your employability skills, CV crafting, workshops, guest speakers, speed interviewing, not speed dating, I think that's what the student union do, but speed interviewing, a variety of different opportunities to develop those work-based skills. And we do that from your first year right up through stage 1, right up to when you leave us. It's particularly pertinent, obviously, for those of you that want to do a work placement, but all students can benefit from this. On the next slide, as part of this, I briefly mentioned it, you'll see there's this particular extracurricular activity called the Business Startup Journey. I don't want to take take the fire from my colleague Rebecca. She will tell you more about this. This is a very popular initiative offered by the Aspire project. On the next slide, we are looking at how can you choose. This is very, very important. You've got 5 choices in UCAS. Count them, 5 choices. How do you choose? My biggest piece of advice in normal years would go out and visit as many universities as you can. Please go and visit, because what you see on a web page, what you see in a virtual presentation is not the same as what you might find when you go there. To try and do your visits this year, clearly that is going to be very, very difficult. But try these virtual visits. Go and watch some videos like today, get a flavour of the place. But in terms of choosing your 5, you've got to look at what you think your student experience is going to be like. You've got to weigh things up. What is the student experience? It's a somewhat nebulous term, but I would argue it includes the programme, it includes the learning and teaching environment and facilities. It also includes the student support and the general extracurricular activities. So weigh these sort of balls up in terms of what's important to you. Here at Kent Business School, clearly we feel that our programs are up to date, relevant and flexible. We feel we offer superb facilities on both campuses. The lecture and teaching environment is excellent. All the lectures are recorded at the moment in the blended system, but we're still having live team sessions for seminars and still socially distanced face-to-face workshops as well. Our facilities within the Simpson building and within the Chatham Historic Dockyard are fantastic for Kent Business School. The student support is very, very good. I have about 18 tutees. My academic advisees, who I see on a regular basis, can come and ask me questions about any problem they may have. We have student support teams in place as well, and the whole campus environment is a fantastic place to study. On the next slide, you'll see we are like a little cohesive village in many ways, both at Canterbury and at Medway, where there's lots of student support facilities to do with studying, facilities to do with counselling, facilities to do with language support. There's a whole host of things here. And we sort of pride ourselves and win a number of awards on this student support that we have in place, this safety net we have in place. You won't be alone if you come to Kent, and in particular Kent Business School. We're always here to help and support you through your studies, particularly this year in the challenging COVID environment, distance and blended learning. We've had to put in place even more support for our students. On the next couple of slides, let's look at the next slide. Why study with us? Well, there's a number of reasons. There's not one reason. I think Kent Business School ticks all of the boxes in terms of our academic excellence. That's obviously fantastic. We have a national and international reputation. We are currently double accredited by AMBER and the ASCSB, these very prestigious accreditation boards. We are looking for our triple accreditation shortly after Christmas in February, where Equus join us, and we hope to be very shortly triple accredited. On the next slide, we can see more reasons to join us, as well as those accreditations. There's our corporate connections, particularly enhanced by our work placement team every year, our employability team, which Nicola will tell you more about. We've got many corporate connections that come in and do guest speaking, interviewing techniques, CV crafting. There's a big focus on employability. Employability is embedded in the curriculum, as well as the briefcase scheme. We also have employability and employability skills as part of the curriculum. Sustainability and innovation is embedded across all our programs. It's a key feature in all our programs. In individual modules, it's either explicit or implicit within a number of other modules. Our locations are fantastic. We've got superb campuses, as you'll see in videos later, both at Canterbury and Medway. And we have a very diverse student community. About a quarter, and just over a quarter of our students are non-EU international students. If we now add in EU students that are not UK British because of Brexit, then getting up beyond 30% of our students are non-UK British students, whatever you want to describe those as. Okay, so it's a very diverse and cosmopolitan learning environment, and that's fantastic. On the international business degree, about half our students are non-UK British. So you might come from Colchester, but be sitting next to somebody from Kolkata, or somebody from Dubai, or possibly somebody from Kuala Lumpur. A very diverse student community. Last couple of slides now, just to finish off. We've got the next slide. Looks at what our graduates go on to. There is not a typical graduate. Our graduates go into all sorts of careers, large-scale enterprises, SMEs, private sector, public sector, all sorts of industries. They go into accounting and finance, financial services, banking, they go into marketing, they go into all sorts of areas. We do not have a typical graduate. As I mentioned earlier on, in recent years, my academic advisees have gone to work for Microsoft, west of London in Reading. They've gone to work for IBM down in Portsmouth. They've gone to work for Bank of America in London, Louis Vuitton in Hammersmith, EA Sports in Old Street Roundabout in London, all sorts of things. There is not a typical student. What employers look for is excellence and skills, and that's what we will give you here at Kent Business School. I think we're on the last couple of slides now, I think. In terms of how you can check, you can go to different league tables. The league tables are a bit of a blunt instrument. They give you a flavour of how business schools are doing, and they give you a flavour of how universities are doing. So do treat them with a bit of scepticism. Do your own research and do go to the virtual tools and their online information. We do very well in our graduate prospects across most of our key programs. You see there, we're usually top 10 or top 20% of graduate prospects. And that's because our programs prepare you very well for the world of work. But equally, we're based in the southeast. Canterbury is less than an hour on the fast train up into London. We have fantastic links also to the continent via Eurotunnel and via the ferry service. So we're very, very lucky because of our location that we have superb links as the UK's European university back into London, but also to the continent. I think we're getting the last couple of slides now. Next slide, please. In terms of contact, you can always email me, sarobinson@kent.ac.uk. You can email me and say, Steve, can you answer this question? Can you answer that question? Yeah, you can phone me up, although with COVID at the moment, people aren't always in the office, etc. Your best bet is to send me an email about any of the programs, but most of the information is contained on the webpage where you can get the answers to most questions. I think that draws to the close my quickish overview to Kent Business School. I'll be around later for the Q&A sessions. If you've got any burning questions, I'll be around with some of our alumni, existing students, and I'll also be around in the second session with colleagues Rebecca and Nicola. But for now, I think that's more than enough from me. So I'll bid you farewell just for now, and I'll see you a little later.
Great, thank you for that introduction, Steve. As you mentioned there, if you've got any questions, do pop them in the comments on the live section bar on Facebook and YouTube, and we'll pop those to our panellists, including Steve, later on in the programme. In the meantime, we've got a couple of other presentations, but first, a look at life studying at the Kent Business School.
I choose to do international business because I've come from a business background. I did business at GCSE as well as at college, and I understood how important it was to get the international perspective on departments such as HR as well as marketing. The learning structured in various different ways. We have lectures maybe once or twice a week, which give you an overview of the material that you're going to be learning about. And then we also have more personal seminars where you'd have about up to 20 other people in the class, which really gives you the opportunity to ask any questions you might have and also take part in really interesting debates on the particular subject.
Second year decided actually to switch to business because it opened up more marketing type modules which suited my skill set. Facilities at Medway are fantastic. The Kent Business School in the Sail and Colour Loft is really interesting because it combines a sort of oldie worldy World War feel to your academic studies, but also has all the modern technology to keep you up to date.
I thoroughly enjoy living in Canterbury. The town centre is very pretty, it's very historical, having the cathedral on your doorstep is a definite benefit.
The University of Kent are very supportive in helping me find an industrial placement. The Kent Business School's Backpack to Briefcase programme is absolutely superb, and it allows you to see what the university expects of you and what employers expect of you when applying and writing applications.
So I was lucky enough to secure 2 separate internships, one being 3 months and the other being 12, and they were at completely different companies. One was in the technology industry in London and the other one was in the defence industry in Hertfordshire.
The lecturers and seminar leaders are very good at pushing you to your sort of academic limits, which is also a very enjoyable part of the course.
The Kent School. And now Rebecca Smith joins us on the line now. She runs Aspire programme and is here to say more about it. Rebecca.
Thanks very much indeed, Louise. Hi everyone, my name's Rebecca Smith and I am the University of Kent's Aspire Project Officer based in the Kent Business School. Aspire is a fantastic opportunity for you to either start your own business or develop entrepreneurial skills. And on the next slide, I can tell you more about that. Fantastic. So as I say, the Aspire is here to provide you with help and support if you're interested in starting your own business. But in the wider sense, also, we help you to develop entrepreneurial skills, which I believe are really exciting to have in life, but particularly in employment, because the kind of skills which entrepreneurs use when they're being successful are the ones that you need to be a successful employee as well. We run several programs. One is the business startup journey. We also are involved in the self-employed year in industry, known as the Selfies program. And also, if you're a Tier 4 student, you can apply for endorsement to stay in the UK and run your own business here on the startup visa. So on the next slide, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about business startup journey. As Steve said just now, it's a co-curricular program. So it's organised in conjunction with your alongside your study. It's something that you can opt to do and take part in. And over 15 weeks, what we're doing is we're giving you a blueprint, a guide to how to start your own business, taking you from the stages of how we find an idea, how we develop and test that idea, through to how you can launch that in the marketplace. It's a really exciting opportunity, and this is how we do it on the next slide. There's a series of really, really interactive workshops where we're taking you through, as I say, those stages of how you look at starting a business. So we look at how do we find ideas by understanding problems in the world around us? How can we take those ideas and start to test them in the marketplace, test them with our potential customers and users, and then how we can build marketing plans, financial plans, so we can really begin to understand what our business will look like and feel like in the real world. And on the next slide, alongside the workshops we have is the opportunity to really be practical, really test our ideas. We talk about real world testing, this really good complement to your academic study, because we're not just talking about how we do things, we're getting you to build actual physical prototypes in the university's makerspace, which is called The Shed. We run pop-up markets where you can bring your product or your service and start to get real live feedback from people. We look at how we can build MVP websites or apps so you can show your idea, and using social media to develop a profile and start to really interact with your consumers. If you join the Aspire, you'll see on the next slide, these sustainable development goals are really, really important to us, going back to what Steve was talking about. We want our startup businesses and our entrepreneurs to really understand the importance of impacting positively on the planet and the world around us. And we use the Sustainable Development Goals in lots and lots of different ways, from the problem solving aspect of it, how can we make a positive impact on some of these areas, but also looking at how we can bring them into any startup business. So if you come to the Aspire, you're going to see these goals everywhere and really learn a lot about them. Alongside the workshops we run, on the next slide, you're going to meet the Aspire team. And there's the opportunity to work with our Aspire entrepreneurs in residence. Joe's an expert in innovation, looking at how we can really start to uncover what lies at the heart of problems and create really great innovative solutions. Karen is an expert in investment and finance, will help you to understand how to build an investable business if that's something that you need to do in order to launch your business. And Kelvin is an experienced business person. He works in lots and lots of different areas and really talks through that practical side of how you start a business. They're not the only people who you'll be interacting with on our programs. And on the next slide, you can meet some of our mentors. They work in so many different areas. It's really not possible to list them all on this slide, but everything from fashion to finance, tech, retail, food and drink, all those areas are covered with our amazing mentor pool. And they're not just based in the UK either. We've got an international pool of mentors. The guy on the bottom in the middle, he's Akash, and he's based in Silicon Valley and brings that really interesting perspective from a global point of view. The workshops and one-to-one support is not the only aspect of what we do in Aspire. And on the next slide, you can see that we offer what we call experience days, where we will go out and we will immerse ourselves in a particular experience. So we go to places like the Design Museum in London, which is just a fantastic place, or we'll go out and we'll work with creative and artists to understand how they see the world and how they create solutions to problems. Really, really great experience, and made possible by our funding through our partners with Santander University. On the next slide, you can see that there's even more to get involved with in the Aspire. And we have a whole program of talks and workshops which help you to engage with and understand the world of entrepreneurship and startups. So we'll invite our graduates in to talk about how they started their business. We recently ran a workshop about how we can use drama techniques to develop our problem-solving skills. And we have inspiring entrepreneurs such as Mick Jackson, who's standing in front of the 1 Million Lives screen. And he's just a fantastic entrepreneur who set up a business which is just changing the world around him. And we want you to be really inspired by all these people and learn from them. So that's a little bit about the business startup journey. And on the next slide, I'm just going to show you a little bit about what the Selfies program is about. As I said before, it's a pathway within the year in industry, but rather than going and working within a company for a year, what you'll be doing is you'll be starting your own business and running your own business for a year. You'll be supported by the Aspire every step of the way. There's one-to-one support for you. And also we get together on a monthly basis to talk about what we're learning. We go to some really, really cool places. We went to the Samsung shop in London, which is just a completely different retail experience. We tap into our alumni network and we go and we talk to them and we learn from them about how they've done it. And we also go to things like trade shows and expos to really immerse ourselves in the world of business and really understand what that's all about. It's a fantastic opportunity. And on my final slide, just a little bit more about Startup Visa endorsement. So, as I say, if you're a Tier 4 student and you're interested in staying in the UK after you graduate, subject to meeting the Home Office criteria of your business proposition having innovation, scalability and job creation in the UK market, we are as a university able to endorse you to take up that opportunity. That's a little bit about what we do in the Aspire. I hope you found it interesting. Please do put any questions in the chat function and I would love to answer them. I hope to see you at the University of Kent soon. Thank you very much.
Thanks for that, Rebecca. Rebecca's also been coordinating this year's Kent and Medway Business Summit, which is an annual event bringing together the counties, companies and corporations to help the region thrive. Before we speak to our next guest, let's find out about the events, one of the many events in the business school's busy calendar.
We are truly delighted to be supporting the first virtual Kent and Medway Business Summit. With all the economic, social, technological and political changes and challenges we are experiencing, it's important that businesses remember to talk with and support each other.
We've never run one online before and we're hoping that this summit is going to be bigger and better because we've got that opportunity for people to join from wherever. What we want to achieve is to be able to bring businesses together, to work together, and to really start to set the scene for Kent's recovery. Kent is a thriving place, and we want to make sure that continues.
A key part of our own forward trajectory is around sort of the support of our peers within the business world, knowing what others are doing. It gives us new ideas. It helps us assess where we are, what we might be doing well, and indeed what we need to improve on. I think now really is a time that collaborating, we can really start to reshape the community and the economy that we exist within. And I think that's an exciting part of coming together at events like this. And I think a summit such as this really allows different businesses, different thoughts, different ideas to be part of the same conversation. What's the world ahead of us that we want to shape?
Kent and Medway is home to many resilient, successful, innovative and inspirational businesses. We are really looking forward to joining and meeting with them on this new virtual platform.
It's absolutely essential if you live and work in Kent to come along to the Business Summit, because not only are you going to hear about what's happening in the future, but you can help shape the future.
Well, Nicola Urquhart joins us now to talk to us a bit more in some detail about careers and employability opportunities that go with studying at the Kent Business School. So, Nicola, over to you.
Hi everybody, I'm Nicola Urquhart. I'm a lecturer in careers and employability, and I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about how we prepare you to get the job that you want. So what we can see on the slide, which will be coming up, this is one of my favourite slides. What we can see is just a kind of random selection of names, but what I can see is just the story behind that. So, I know, for example, we have a placement student at the moment with IBM as a financial analyst. We have somebody who's just going into a graduate role with Hewlett Packard. And when I'm looking there, for example, at the Big Four, so for example, EY and KPMG, I can think of just so many of our students that have gone on to work there. So this is one of my kinds of really favourite slides. In the next slide, I am just going to show you the team that will help you really to get the career that you want. So the employability is such a big thing at Kent Business School, headed up by Kim Munden, who you can see on the screen. As you can see there, I'm the lecturer at Canterbury, and my amazing colleague Gemma, who heads up employability at Medway, and also Sam, who works across both campuses, and she's really key to supporting our students when they're on placement. So if we could just have the next slide, please. So I think it's just really important to mention that it's not kind of the year that we were expecting in terms of the labour market. But as a graduate, as a would-be graduate, there is lots of positive messages there. What we are seeing is, although there has been a decrease in vacancies, that the rates are starting to rise. And also that's particularly true with graduate roles. So some US economists are calling it a K-shaped recovery. So those sectors that can move to online working, for example, which do tend to be highly graduate, are recovering at a much faster rate. The other thing that we've seen is absolutely employers have moved their recruitment to virtual recruitment. And one of the things that Gemma and I are doing is just really keeping an eye on the labour market, seeing what's happening, which sectors are recruiting, which strategies are recruiters using, so that we can help and support you to get the roles that you want to have. Okay, so just talking on the next slide a little bit more about our programs and how they're put together. So as you can see, it can be that you can do a year in industry. I'll talk a bit more about that. It's a really popular year. The feedback from our students is amazing about the opportunity of, how they found that and how that's helped them to develop. Also, as Rebecca mentioned, you can do that as the Selfie program, where you're actually working on your own business. And there's also the opportunity to do a year abroad, as well as year in different programs such as data analytics and computing. And as Steve has already mentioned, we're in the top 5% of HE institutions through our accreditations. So on the next slide, just talk to you a little bit about the accreditations of the different programs. So I know that Steve has already mentioned this. So this is where just through studying your academic program, you also get professional qualifications alongside. So let's just say, for example, accounting and finance. The program is already aligned with the Institute of Chartered Accountants in England and Wales, and also the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants. That's just an example of two of them. So not only are you getting that academic qualification, but you're getting that professional qualification. And on the next slide, what you'll see is just how that kind of really, sort of benefits you. So often it will mean that after you graduate, that you don't have to, you have professional exemptions from taking some of the exams. It's also a real testament to the quality of the teaching that professional programmers are looking at the Kent programme, and they're saying yes, that absolutely fits with what we are looking for as an example, a future accountant to be able to do. Also, lots of these organisations will come in and they will do professional events with you and networking events with you as well. So really, there's just even though, accreditations, you might be thinking, well, it's quite a long way away before I'd be thinking about a career. The fact that you're getting those as you're studying, I just think is a kind of win-win situation. So just on the next slide, I just want to talk to you briefly about the year abroad. And interestingly, sometimes it feels everything at the moment is sort of very local. But absolutely, even in this virtual world, we're having to work internationally and across borders, different cultures, different experiences. And absolutely, what we're thinking is that hopefully, by the time you join Kent Business School, then our year abroad programme, the situation will be more back to normal, and it'll be something that you'll be able to take part in. And absolutely, just like the year in industry programme, it's something that our students say is a fantastic part of their degree. So just on the next slide, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about the backpack to briefcase program. So on the next slide, it just kind of talks you through some of the, really what we're doing is these graduate attributes were designed and decided on in conjunction with employers. And they have said that absolutely these are the types of attributes that we are looking for graduates to have. So that ability to think, in a curious way, how can we make things work? How can we do things differently? To be able to have the confidence in your abilities and to be able to speak up in meetings, for example, and absolutely that developing of resilience. So all of our programs are designed to help you to not only get these graduate attributes, but to be able to articulate them. So the next slide just talks to you a little bit more about how we do that. So there is employability modules actually embedded in the curriculum. So at each stage of your academic career. Many of those are delivered by Gemma and I, but equally it might be that we have IBM in to do a workshop, or we might have a large technology company, for example, FDM, are coming in to talk about how to ace an interview and what they look for. You can also have one-to-one appointments with Gemma and I. We're both qualified careers advisors. So if you're thinking, well, I'm not sure the direction I want to go in after graduation, then that's something that we can sit down and talk with you and help you to explore the possibilities. We work really closely with the Central University's Careers and Employability Service. They are an award-winning career service, and they regularly put on many events, such as the large university careers fair that brings over 100 employers onto campus or onto campus virtually. So that's something that works really well, that we do have those strong links. And also we have an employability blog, because we regularly have employers that are contacting us saying we're specifically looking to recruit Kent students, and one of the places that we would advertise those is on the blog. So lots of things there to kind of be, you know, just helping you as part of your journey to get the career that you want. So on the next slide, just going to talk to you a little bit more about our fantastic placement year. So this is 44 weeks employment. I would say that over 99% of those roles are paid roles. It can be that sometimes somebody chooses to take an unpaid role, but absolutely about 95% of those are paid. And the salary for those tends to be about £18,000 a year. And what we see when we talk to people that have done the placement year is it's really helped to clarify their career goals. They have much more of an insight of what the world of work is like, and that can really help them to think, okay, this is the direction that I would want to go in. So it's something that I would highly recommend that people do. And when it comes to looking for a role after graduation, if you've done a placement year, it just makes that process of looking for a graduate role, you know, because you've been through it already, it's just really helpful. So just on the next slide, which is the last slide, just want to mention, as Rebecca has already mentioned, that not only can you do the placement year as somebody in employment, but you can also do it as somebody setting up their own business. And again, there's lots of support to help you to do this. And this is an example of one of our students, Jekal, who actually did a self-mint placement year, and it's a clothing business, and that is going incredibly well. So we're really proud of our students at Kent Business School. So I think if you know what you want to go into, then that's something we can absolutely support you to do. But equally, if you're thinking, I know that I want to study business, but I'm not quite sure what my dream career will be at the moment, that's something that we can help you to discover. So thank you very much, and I really hope to see you at some point. So thank you. Bye.
Well, Nicola, thank you very much for that presentation. We'll be talking to some students in just a sec, but first is a short clip showcasing the heart of the business school in Canterbury, the state-of-the-art Simpson building.
The thing that really stood out when I first came into the building was how bright and airy it was. It was really great that there's so much natural light coming in. I think that's really going to be beneficial for everyone to wake them up and get them motivated.
Everything I need is under one roof, and I don't need to travel across campus.
There's a greater sense of community here, in the sense that we will have students working next to seminar leaders, lecturers, and students ranging from PhDs to MBAs.
This new MBA suite will help in various ways in my studies. Firstly, it will help me develop my leadership skills. Secondly, it's a collaborative working environment, and also it's very comfortable.
First impression of the building is that it's very light and airy and lets nature into the office spaces and into the teaching spaces.
This new building is very angular, and it has been designed perfectly, keeping in mind the woodland that surrounds the building.
It's settled in a lovely location, and it's a very pleasant place to learn.
I really like the new teaching facilities. I'm very excited to teach the students there, and I hope they're equally excited about them.
I was particularly impressed with the new lecture theatres. Their highly collaborative design, I think, is going to be very exciting to work with.
I think the current students are really going to benefit with the new facilities here, keeping in mind the new computer labs and the amount of computers that are here set up in the new building. They're going to have a good time here.
I think the thing that impressed me most was the breakout spaces. It will be really interesting to see how the students use them when they're working together, and I think being in slightly different environments to what you're used to in a university will get them thinking differently and hopefully a bit out of the box.
This is an absolute landmark for Kent Business School, and I think the new students are really going to enjoy their time next year.
Welcome back, and thank you for joining us for the Kent Business School Virtual Open Day. We're now joined by our first panel, so Steve's rejoined us, and we've also got Yemurai and Abby on the line. Some questions have already been coming through on the live streams on Facebook and YouTube, but remember, if you do have any pressing queries to put to our panel, then do pop those into the comment section and we'll get them asked very shortly. So Steve, first of all, a big question for those who are watching this virtual open day: why should they come and choose the Kent Business School?
There's a number of things to consider, and I mentioned it briefly in my presentation. It's really about your student experience, and I think in terms of the student experience, although it's a nebulous concept, you're going to be looking at what's important to you, being the program of study, the facilities, the level of support, and also the extracurricular activities that are available. And I think Kent Business School ticks all those boxes. Our programs are up to date, they're relevant, they're flexible, they're inspiring. So the programs are fantastic. They are well taught. We have TEF Gold as an award, so our teaching is fantastic. But also our facilities arguably are second to none. We have the fantastic Simpson building here at Canterbury, and up at Medway we are in the superb Sale and Colour Loft buildings. So the facilities across campus are really, really good. Not only that, it's the level of support that you get from your academics, but also our professional services staff, our student support team are fantastic, and they provide not only prompts for you, but a sort of a safety net to make sure your progress is maintained. And if you've got any problems, you can come to myself, or you can come to them, or your academic advisor. And so also, not only that, it's the extracurricular initiatives and projects and facilities, clubs and societies that we offer as well, both as a university and within KBS. Things like that Rebecca was speaking about earlier on, the business startup journey, the backpack to briefcase for employability skills. So it's a long answer to a short question, but basically because we tick all the boxes. We get very few students that want to leave us. I'm always getting early in October phone calls from students that have started at other universities, and it's not been exactly what they've wanted or were looking for and want to transfer to us. So it's the fact that we tick the boxes right across the student experience, as well as, of course, our professional accreditations, our academic excellence. So sorry about that, Louisa, but it's a long answer to a short question.
No, thank you for that, Steve. I want to bring one of the students in now. Yemurai, first of all, if you could tell us a little bit more about yourself and why you chose the Kent Business School.
So my name is Yemurai Machacha. I am a second year finance and investment student at the Kent Business School Medway. I chose Kent primarily because after this I'd like to get my CFA, and it's one of the accredited universities that allows me to do my CFA. And when I took a closer look at the student life and, you know, how life would be like for me at uni, you know, work and social life, Kent was like a top runner, if not the best university that I saw. And I love the fact that the Medway campus was 3-in-1 university, so I was able to meet more students from, you know, Canterbury, Christchurch, and Greenwich. So that's primarily why I chose the University of Kent.
Yeah, I'll move on to you. If you could tell us a little bit more about your journey to come to Kent and what your experience has been so far.
So I'm an international student. So obviously, we had to do the application process. I'm used to not living at home. I was a boarder for 6 years prior to coming to university. So my experience so far has been great. I mean, barring COVID, life was fine for me. I mean, even COVID considered, I don't think that I was one who really suffered a lot because I was used to being by myself. So the university did made my process staying here over COVID a lot more easier. I think the social interactions have made making friends a lot more easier. Joining clubs and societies, I've met lots of people from different backgrounds. Multicultural campus, so it's been great.
Thank you for that. Steve, I'll come back to you. For students who are prospectively potentially applying, do they have to have any previous business experience?
No, not at all. A lot of our students do have previous experience. Often students have taken A-level business, or maybe A-level economics is quite popular, or a lot of our students come from a BTEC background where they might have done sub-diplomas, diplomas, or extended diplomas in business. This is not necessary though. Many of our students have not got a business background. They may not have ever studied business at all, perhaps not even at GCSE level. So it's not necessary. We assume from day one on your programs in the first year that we assume students have not studied business at all. If you have studied it, it's probably a step up for you clearly in your first year, because there will be elements that overlap with your level 3 qualification. So you might find some modules partly familiar or partly similar to what you've done in your BTEC or A levels, but you'll find very soon that we move on beyond what you've done in your A levels to new areas. But you do not need a business qualification to study a business related degree.
I'm sure that's really helpful for lots of people listening. Abby, I want to ask you a question first of all. If you could introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about why you chose the Kent Business School.
Yep, so hi Louisa. So as mentioned, my name is Abby and I'm currently a senior account executive working for Merkle, and Merkle is part of the Dentsu Aegis network, and it's just essentially a large advertising agency, and we work with well-known brands providing their media. I graduated from Kent in 2019, so at the Cathedral luckily, and ever since then I've been in media and I've been loving it, so yeah. And the reason why I chose Kent is because I was the first person in my family to go to university, so I needed to make sure that it was the right choice for me. I didn't really have anyone to rely on to see if like a true experience. I didn't have anyone to ask. So for me, I knew I wanted to do business, so I decided to look at all business schools that the university offer, and I really just resonated with what Kent believe in and their values, not just assessing students on their written capability. It's all about group work, presentation. It's the skills that I use every day now, and that's why I am currently, I've been promoted within a year of graduating because of all the skills that Kent Business School have given me. And speaking to other people who have graduated at the same time, I do believe that Kent really have the most modern teaching abilities, and all my skills are so relevant to what I do every day, so that's why I chose Kent.
And how welcoming have you found the school as well as the Canterbury and Medway campuses?
Very welcoming indeed. I've met people that I know for a fact I would have never meet in normal world. It's been great. I meet people from all different backgrounds, and the thing is about the Simpson building as well is that it's a area where we can all work together, so you can see people on your calls, you can start asking questions. With Kent, it's all about team effort, which I really like. You don't really see people working on their own, they're always working as a team, and I do that every day, so it's given me the discipline that I need to be not only patient about working as a team, but also appreciating people's ideas and where they come from and their perspective on things, and I think that's a great discipline to have.
Oh, well, Abby, thank you very much for sharing that insight. Steve, I'll come back to you here. In terms of next year and the programmes going on next year, will it be predominantly online or face-to-face?
That's a good question. It depends what you mean by next year. I suspect the university hopes that the next academic year, for what people are tuning in today, will be going back as hopefully as close to possible as to what a normal academic year would be, with face-to-face lectures and seminars. We clearly don't know that for sure. We don't know what's going to happen in the pandemic and COVID. What's currently happening because of COVID is that we have a blended learning delivery, like most universities. I think we do a very good job with this. For example, for my students, I pre-record the lectures, which we split into different sections, and the students can log in and listen to my lectures online, a bit like this, you could say, but we still have face-to-face seminars within the Teams environment, so the students still log in for a seminar like this, where we can see everybody's faces, the slides, the presentations, the discussions, the cases, and we still have some face-to-face workshops as well. So that's the blended delivery at the moment, partly pre-recorded, partly live, like this, and partly face-to-face. Going forward for the academic year next year, that's a good question, Louisa, and if I knew the answer to that, I would definitely tell you. I am hoping, I think like most people, that we will revert back to our traditional type of teaching to a certain extent, but augment and improve that with what we've learned through this blended environment. So I think we'll take elements of good practice that we currently know and fuse that with our traditional practice for the next academic year.
And one thing that was touched upon in a couple of the slides and presentations earlier is the opportunity to do a year abroad. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. The year abroad is at one of our partner universities. It's in the third year, so you do your first 2 years at Kent, stage 1, stage 2. Then in your third year, you go off to one of our partner universities. We have about a dozen. You can see them on the webpage. As I said in my little presentation, a lot of them teach in English now, so you can go off to Hong Kong or Beijing. Even in Australia, they teach in English. Look at that, amazing. Okay, but there are lots of different partner universities. You go and study there for a year, and then you come back to do your final year here. You would study business and business related topics during that year. Most of our year abroad students live on campus or very close to campus at the partner university. You are assessed over there, but the actual assessments do not count to your final degree here. You're assessed there pretty much for a pass or fail on your year abroad, but they do not actually contribute to your final degree classification here back at Kent. So you immerse yourself in a local culture, you immerse yourself and possibly learn a new language, but as I said, many now teach in English. It's becoming increasingly popular to do the year abroad. Work placements have always been popular, but the year abroad is becoming increasingly popular now.
And is there much industry experience integrated in the course in terms of hands-on experience, hands-on components?
Yes, the short answer is yes. We have a lot of our modules are very practical modules. They're looking not only just at up-to-date case studies, but we have guest speakers in to talk about elements of actual industry practice, of actual current standards in industry, developments in industry, what's going on in industry, current issues to do with sustainability, innovation, employability, etc. Many of our students, as Nicola would have told you earlier, and I touched upon earlier, do the work placement. That's becoming increasingly popular as well. Like the year abroad, we have over 150 students do the work placement every year, but not all students want to do that. That's fair enough. So we have a job club that can help students find part-time work, but also the Careers and Employability Service are available for finding students internships. Internships either over the summer period or the Easter period are becoming increasingly popular as well. But most of our modules try to embed different elements of practical experience or different elements of software or different elements of case studies to make it real world relevant. It varies clearly from subject to subject. Some subjects lend themselves more to looking at real world skills, transferable skills from the workplace. So it does vary, but we do our best across a range of different areas to embed the employability skills and experience.
Well, Steve, thank you very much for those answers. I want to bring the students back in here. Yemrai, for instance, tell us a little bit about what it's like living on campus, both in Canterbury and Medway.
So I am on the Medway campus. I live at Pier Keys. I've done a YouTube video about this, but I would say that I suggest that you live at Pier Keys, you know, because just in terms of safety and, you know, the facilities is great. In terms of actually living, like spending my time on campus, I love the campus. I love what they've done to it. I love how they've taken old buildings and modernized it. The Sale and Color Loft, I work there at the reception. It's really interesting to interact with different personalities. The staff are fantastic. You know, I'm always like, you know, make sure you talk to your lecturers, make sure you talk to your lecturers. And they are really just amazing people, always keen to help you. In terms of, you know, the shared facilities that we do have at Medway campus, I think my favorite has to be the library. I always say, oh, we have the longest library in Europe, which is great. I think it's a great facility. The deep end's really fun, you know, in terms of social activities. So all in all, I think it's a different kind of campus, but it's a great one.
And Abby, if you could tell us a little bit more about how you found the campus facilities.
Yeah, sure. So for my first year, I lived in Turin, and that was amazing. That was brand new, and all of what you need is there. So if I ran out of food, I could walk, 15 steps and there'll be a shop there, washing facilities, it's all there. And the thing that reassured me as well is that I was so close to the library. So I wasn't going to be stuck in my room reading a book. I would be able to go to the library, find a spot and spend the whole day there. And I suppose in Kent, everything's in walking distance. So you might say we're in a bubble, but it's a very productive bubble where everything you need is in walking distance, and it's great because then you get to see all the resources and facilities that Kent have to offer.
And Steve, looking at postgraduate study, what opportunities are there for further study?
Well, we have a broad range of postgraduate programs. A number of our undergraduates, I write references every year for our undergraduates to go on to postgraduate study. I would say between 10 and 20% of our undergraduates are looking to do postgraduate study. That percentage is probably going to go up this year because of COVID and the fact that the job market is somewhat restricted. We offer a broad range here at Kent, and many of our undergraduates stay with us at Kent Business School and go on to do postgraduate study. We typically look for them to get a good 2-1 degree, maybe a 2-2 if it's a strong 2-2. We offer a range of taught masters programs here at Canterbury campus and 1 or 2 up at Medway. They vary across the typical subject areas you might expect to find. So you can do masters in management, masters in international business. You can drill down and do more specialized marketing related master's degrees or more specialized finance investment related master's degrees. So it's a broad range, and because many of our students like Abby enjoyed it so much here at Kent that many of them want to stay here to do postgraduate studies as well. But you haven't clearly got to do that. A number of our undergraduates still go on, and I write references every year for students to go on to do masters. In fact, I wrote one yesterday for one of my students who wants to do a masters at LSE, another student's going to USL. I had a student a week or 2 ago discussing with me her postgraduate studies. She's applied for Kent here to stay here, but she's also applied to Warwick and Loughborough. So there's all sorts of opportunities. And as I said, about 15-20% of our undergraduates go on to postgraduate study.
Well, thank you, everyone. We'll be coming back to another panel a bit further on. But remember to keep those questions coming on YouTube and Facebook if you've got any queries to put to our guests. We'll be back shortly to answer those. But first is a brief walkthrough of the Canterbury campus. Don't go away.
Hi, my name is Olga. Welcome to the University of Kent's Canterbury campus. So this is Templeman Library. It's got so much study spaces for you and your friends to get some work done. It's got over 1 million books and journals for you to do your work, and also the library staff are a dedicated team of people to help you and answer any questions that you might have. So welcome to the Plaza. This is normally where the hub of activity takes place on campus. There's loads of places to eat and drink with your friends with. There's also a bookshop and also one of the 2 of the co-ops on campus. Centre here at the University of Kent, there's something for everyone. There's a gym, fitness and dance studios, martial arts training areas and even a physio clinic. With sport and fitness at the University of Kent, you name it, we got it. Not far from the Sports Centre, you have Parkwood Student Village. Parkwood is an amazing place to meet amazing people. I met some of my best friends here in my first year. There's other areas to live on campus, such as Keynes, Turin and Darwin. Parkwood is next to our campus pub Woody's, which is a great place to relax and socialise with friends. So across the street from Parkwood, you have the sports field under Pavilion. On Wednesdays, sports teams can be found training or playing against other unis. In quieter times, it's a great place to chill and keep to any social distancing rules. So we're back in the centre of campus and we're outside the Gulbenkian. The Gulbenkian is a place of entertainment here on campus. It's a cinema, it's a theatre, it's also got a music hall called the Collier Ferguson, which will all be open once lockdown has been eased. But the Gulbenkian has so many shows, whether that's comedy, theatre, dance, and if you're part of a performance society here at the University of Kent, you might have the opportunity to perform here just like I did when I was a student. So saving the best place for last, it's many people's favourite places on campus. It's the one and only, the campus green. It's got a wonderful view of the cathedral, plenty of wide open space, and what better view to have of the city of Canterbury. Welcome back to the Kent Business School Virtual Open Day. We've got our second panel, which includes Nicola, who we spoke to a little bit earlier for her presentation. Thank you very much for joining us as part of this panel. I'll start with you, if that's all right, in terms of the questions. If you could tell us a little bit more about where students go for their placements.
Okay, so they go to lots and lots of different places. So we have, thinking about this year, we have students at IBM, HP, we've had students at Warner Brothers, L'Oreal. So really there isn't one, it really is just so diverse. We have students in the automotive industry, and really what we try and do is talk to you about where would you like to go on placement, and then help you to find that placement and to apply for that. But really we have people working across all different industries and all different sectors.
And in terms of what the Kent Business School does to help those students find their placements, tell a little bit more about that.
Okay, so we have in your second year a programme of lectures that talks you through each step of the process. So from where to look, where to apply, what employers are looking for on application, and then talking you through the recruitment process and cycle. The other thing that we do is if you're interested in working in a particular organisation, so let's say you really want to work in Warner Brothers and you've applied, it's very likely we'll know somebody that has worked there previously, and we can put you in contact with them. And also our programmes, we have lots of employers that are coming in to talk about their recruitment practices. So, these are the people that are actually recruiting. So they come in and they'll be saying, okay, this is what we look for at assessment centres, for example. But we also do quite a lot around confidence building and around really helping you to articulate those skills and abilities that you're getting through studying.
Moving on from there, how do you help students move into recruitment, move into finding a job, particularly at the moment when we hear a lot about virtual recruitment?
Okay, so one of the things that we've done is, because recruitment has moved to a virtual scenario, and what employers are saying is even after the pandemic, it's very likely that a lot of their recruitment will remain virtual. So we have had employers in to do For example, we had IBM, they did a practice mock assessment centre. So really a replica of what one of their assessment centres is like, so that students could experience that and know what it's like logging on, for example. In the second year, everybody does, as part of the module, they do a presentation and they talk about their skills and their abilities as if they were applying for a role. So because recruitment is now virtual, what we did was we decided to make that a virtual experience. So everything that we're doing in the employability programme is really to kind of help you to get a role and to kind of get that job or that career within the current labour market situation. So that's why what Gemma and I are specifically kind of supporting you with just now is that virtual recruitment.
Nicola. Abby, I want to ask you another question. What do you consider to be your highlights of your time at Kent, the course, any particular modules?
So yeah, there's plenty of modules, but in my second year I studied branding and buyer behaviour, and it just fueled my passion to get into the media industry. I, was learning about brands and their relationship with consumers, but it was so practical. It was about real life examples, and the way the module was structured was that we get to work in groups as well. So one of the highlights is the amount of people you meet who become lifelong friends, and then you graduate all in the beautiful Canterbury Cathedral, and it's just such a humbling experience seeing all your friends who during the most stressful times of university all celebrate your hard work and their hard work with your family as well. So definitely one of my highlights is graduation, but throughout my time at university is definitely meeting people from different backgrounds, establishing lifelong friendships with them, and it's also just growing in confidence. I know that's not really necessarily a pinpoint moment, but it's like as the years went on I began to become more and more confident, and it wasn't about necessarily what I learned, it was how I learned. I felt confident to critique well-known and well-established theories and frameworks, and I don't think I would have had that confidence if I didn't choose Kent Business School and their lecturers, for example.
And had you studied business prior to coming to Kent?
Yes, so I've done it for GCSE, and for those who don't know, for GCSE business, you're taught that a business has 4 functions: HR, operations, finance and marketing. And for my GCSE, we broke it down into those 4 and studied them. And the one that really excited me was marketing, but it didn't transpose into when I went to university that I actually knew that advertising exists within marketing. So, my company, what they do is on a global scale, but we only are a fraction of marketing. So it was great that I studied a course that would be able to teach me all about marketing, then I could specialise in one for my career.
And how crucial would you say it is for prospective students to maybe have studied business before applying?
I wouldn't say it is crucial. It does help, explaining things in business terms, but it's not a requirement. I have friends who was on my course that didn't do any business before they started Ken, and they wasn't never at a disadvantage. The first year is sort of a common year where you have key modules that are shared with other business schools. So it's really good that you get to meet people who do marketing, but it's also that first year you get to network with people who are also in the Kent Business School but study accounting and economics, for example.
And Steve, for first year students, what sort of support is there available for them if they're potentially nervous, starting their university career?
That's a good question. There's all sorts of levels of support available. Every student has an academic advisor. I've mentioned these briefly before. I have about 18 students who I'm the advisor to, so they can come and see me in my office hours, which are all online now, but are typically 2 or 3 hours a week, or they can email me or Teams message me if they've got any questions about their program, their academic progression. So there's that level of support. We also have a student support team in place within Kent Business School. So anything issues to do with studying, timetable, assignment submission, issues to do with perhaps personal issues, they can see the senior tutor. A lot of students only sort of check in now and again. So some of my advisees I may only see 2 or 3 times a term, whereas others I see on a regular basis. I may see them sort of virtually every other week. So it does vary. vary. We sort of tailor the amount of support that each student themselves may need. That's within Kent Business School, but the university as a whole offers a whole world of support in terms of counselling, financial support, chaplaincy, study support. So there's a whole network of support pillars in place. And indeed, Kent have won a number of awards over the years for the quality of our student support and experience.
And following on from that, what sort of learning materials and resources are available to students?
All sorts, really. The days are gone when I was a student. You don't want to hear about that, where you had to get on the bus, go to the library and photocopy things out of books. But now, for the module I teach, for example, the students have a dedicated web page on Moodle. So I upload all my lectures are uploaded there, the lecture slides and all the recorded lecture slides. Our case studies are on the Moodle page as well as previous exams, little quizzes. There's also a chat link so students can ask questions, as well as links to supporting materials, chapters from books, etc. So we have a real digital environment. It's a fantastic support there. So the days have gone they're having to get on the bus, as I said, to go to the library. The students still like going to the library because it's part of a social mix of studying whereby you can study in peer groups. But by and large now, the support for your studies is virtually all online. On a hard day, that might mean a couple of clicks away from a particular document, a case study, a particular research paper. So the level of support for studies is really strong, and most module conveners like myself, if you want to book an appointment with me to discuss my lecture and say, Steve, I didn't understand your lecture, or I didn't understand that part of the lecture, or can you tell me more about this assignment, then us lecturers are very sort of flexible, not only in our office hours, but most of us by appointment can meet students all other times during the week as well.
And Nicola, we've had a question through on YouTube that you might be able to answer. They said, if you choose a course with work placement, are you guaranteed a placement in a business? And if so, is the work placement paid?
Okay, so that's a really good question. I would say that over 95% of our placements are paid. Sometimes people might choose to do an unpaid placement, but at least 95% of the students that go on placement, it is paid, and it tends to be between about £17,000 to £18,000 a year, so really well paid. The placement isn't guaranteed, but what we find is that students that really want a placement, and if they're willing to put the work in and access the support in terms of getting applications looked at and taking part in practice interviews, for example, that absolutely those students do go on and secure the placement that they want. So it's not guaranteed, but the support is definitely there to get you a placement if that's what you want.
And following on from that, what sort of networking opportunities are there at the university?
Okay, so we regularly have, sometimes it's, previously face-to-face, so we would have employers coming in. So that might be, for example, if you were studying accounting and finance, it might be that the Institute of Chartered Accountants in England and Wales, that we work with them to put on a networking event. So we have different employers coming in and they might be doing sort of speed interviewing, for example. So that's giving you the chance to meet with those employers. Or it might be that, for example, if we're doing something virtual, so we have FDM coming in, and that's later this week, they are going to be talking to students about strength-based interviews and how to ace that interview process. So again, that will give you the opportunity to connect with them. One of the things that Gemma and I talk a lot about is the power of LinkedIn. So I'd say if you're watching this on YouTube, absolutely feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. And then very often what we see is our current students are connecting with our amazing alumni. So people like Abby, I know that she's come in to talk to some of the students as part of employability. And, if, for example, they're interested in working in media, I know that some of our students have connected with Abby. And equally, some of the graduate recruiters that are coming in to talk to you that they're really happy to connect with you, because the reason companies like FDM and Enterprise, that they're coming in to speak to you because they're good people, but actually because they want to recruit Kent students as well. So they're really happy when students that attend their sessions also connect with them either via email or something like LinkedIn.
Well, thank you for that, Nicola. That's all we've about got time for. Thank you to all the guests who've been on to answer questions and tell us about the Kent Business School. And of course, a big thank you to you at home for watching and sending in all those questions. If you'd like to find out more, you can go to www.kent.ac.uk/Kent-business-school or follow the school at KBS_Kent. We've got a final video for you with former student Timmy Olayinka showcasing the Medway campus, but that's all from me on behalf of everyone at the Kent Business School. We wish you all the very best of luck and hope to see you here with us in the near future. Goodbye.
Hello, my name is Timmy Olayinka. Welcome to the University of Kent Medway campus. So beside me is the Drew Hall Library, the longest library in Europe. When I was doing my dissertation, I remember I needed so many resources. The Drew Hall Library staff were always there to help me whenever I had any questions. So this is definitely the place to be to achieve those top marks and to do some social distance study. Behind me is the Deep End, which is the student hub on campus. Every single day of the week, we have so many activities. We've had top performers, theatres and plays all being hosted at the Deep End. I'm just hoping very soon, in the near future, we can have some more. And behind me is the sports centre. It has a fully equipped gym and a large sports hall for volleyball, basketball and of course, five-a-side football. So close by are the Medway building and the Gillingham building, as well as the Medway School of Pharmacy. Inside the Gillingham building, we have the School of Social Policy, Sociology and Social Research, as well as the Centre for Journalism. Inside the Medway building is also the home of KMTV, the university's part-owned local television station. KMTV offers a lot of student internships where I'm having an enjoyable time and developing myself for my future career. Pear Keys offers modern and suite accommodation to students. Each flat has about 5 to 8 students with a fully equipped shared kitchen. Pear Keys has a lot of social spaces and a laundrette. And if you're looking for a quick bite, then Pear Keys has Subways, Domino's and Tesco Express. It's a great place to live if you're looking for somewhere close to the Medway campus and popular sites around Medway. Medway has much to offer. Take Rochester, for example. You can shop along the cobbled high street, take a trip to the famous castle or cathedral, and a journey to London on the train is less than an hour. Medway is also home to the historic dockyard Chatham. We're over here at the historic dockyard Chatham, which is a maritime museum which showcases the unique history of the Medway region. This region is also being used for so many blockbuster movies and TV series sets. The University of Kent also has a presence here, and behind me is a galvanizing shop, which is a great location to enjoy some great food, time with friends, and live gigs between classes. I hope you found out a little bit more information about the Medway campus here at the University of Kent. If you're looking for any more information, please visit our website and our social media pages. Thank you very much for watching, and we hope to see you soon.